What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking About Baseball. Today is the 5th day of the 12 days of MLB Christmas rankings. Today I will be ranking second baseman, as you could have seen by the title. And before I start this, you should go watch the 4 videos before this, after, or before you watch this one, whatever you want to do. Also, we are trying to hit 250 subscribers by Christmas, and currently we are not on track to do that, so hopefully we can get there, and please subscribe if you are liking the content. But anyway, let's get into it. At number 32, I have Romy Gonzalez of the White Sox. Just not really a very impressive player. He's alright on defense, but doesn't really have anything on offense. This could also be Lenyn Sosa of the White Sox, who I would say pretty much the exact same thing about, and I would also put him in the exact same spot. So whichever one you really think is going to be playing second base, either of them could be that guy, and either of them are not very good. At number 31, I have Liover Peguero of the Pirates. Very good hitter, pretty alright on defense. I think that he's also another guy who could continue to progress as he's still very young, but right now he's just not really all that good. At number 30, I could say the exact same thing about this guy, and that is Enmanuel Valdez. Just another guy, not really great at anything. He was a rookie last year for the Red Sox and only played about the last month. I think that, once again, he could continue to progress, and that's the same thing I'm going to say about this next guy, too, and that is Noelvi Marte of the Reds. He really didn't play at all last year after getting traded in the Luis Castillo deal. He played about the last 2 months, and he was actually pretty solid for the Reds. He's definitely more of a hitter and all right on defense, but I think, obviously, just like these bottom 4 in total, they all need to progress more to get up higher. At number 28, I have Luis Garcia of the Nationals. He's just been really below average the last couple of years, and that's pretty much the definition of a National since 2020. They just have not looked very good all of those years. Luis Garcia was supposed to be a really highly touted prospect for them, supposed to be really good, but of course that did not work out as he's sitting at number 28 on the second base list. At number 27, I have current projected second baseman for the Mariners, Josh Rojas. They've only gotten worse so far this offseason, trading away key hitters like Eugenio Suarez, and also losing Teoscar Hernandez in free agency. Josh Rojas really isn't all that great of a hitter after he got traded from them to the Diamondbacks in a separate deal, not the Suarez deal, and Josh Rojas has never really had a great season outside of 2021, where he still wasn't amazing. He was just alright. At number 26, kind of the same player as Josh Rojas, I have Zach McKinstry. Zach McKinstry is actually a pretty solid contact hitter, not really great on defense, pretty much has absolutely no power as a former Cub. And I think that Zach McKinstry is not a starting second baseman on most teams. He's a really solid utility player, but he's on the Tigers, and I think they could definitely use an upgrade at second base, and that's why McKinstry's so low. At number 25, I have Royals second baseman Michael Massey. He looked pretty solid last year, mainly absolutely destroying the White Sox. If you're a White Sox fan, you know what I mean. Michael Massey I think could be a really solid contact hitter, probably hitting in the 270 to 280 range at his peak, but I don't really think he'll ever be a great hitter. He's pretty alright on defense, but is another guy who really has no power, which is going to be a common theme throughout all these second basemen, as they're mainly contact guys. At number 24, I have another guy who has not played a full season, and that is Jordan Westburg. He got called up mid-season last year for the Orioles, and he looked pretty solid through the whole year. I think that he's a guy who could potentially get traded because the Orioles have a very busy infield right now with guys like Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westburg, as I mentioned, Ryan Mountcastle on the infield, Jorge Mateo, and a lot of other prospects like Jackson Holliday coming up in the future. I think he could potentially get traded, but I don't really know if that's the guy that they're going to choose to trade. At number 23, I have athletic second baseman Zach Gelof, yet another guy who has not played a full season. That would make it 3 guys in a row and a lot of guys at the bottom of this list. Gelof is so high and higher than the others because in the few months that he played, he was outstanding for a terrible athletics team. The best hitter on that team, in my opinion, to end that year. But we'll see how he does next year as he's no longer a rookie. After how he performed last year, he's going to be expected to perform much better. And we'll see how he performs on an absolutely just garbage athletics team. There's nothing more I can say about it. At number 22, yet another guy who has not played a full season. That would make it 4 in a row, and this is also another guy who hit very well in the time he did play. That is Davis Schneider of the Blue Jays. Whit Merrifield is now a free agent, so he is projected to be their starting second baseman, and I think that he will not disappoint. He came up as a prospect that I have never even heard of last year, and he just started hitting absolute tanks the rest of the year. I got to see him play in Boston last summer, and he looked really solid, going 2 for 4 in that game, and that's right after he just got called up, and I think that he will continue to be a really solid power hitter even at the second base position. At number 21, I have Angels player Luis Rengifo, and he's not just a player, he's their second baseman. I don't know why I said that, but he's pretty much the epitome of an average player. He's really never had a great season, never been terrible, just been really average throughout his whole career. He's another guy who's a contact hitter, pretty solid defensively, but that's really all he brings to the table for Los Angeles. At number 20, I have free agent Adam Frazier. He looked really solid for the Pirates, but he got traded to the Padres after that, and then he's bounced around from the Mariners to the Orioles since then, and he's really never found his form that he had with the Pirates since then. I think that Adam Frazier could easily rebound and be a really solid hitter again, but the last 2 years he's been pretty bad, and I have not seen him do very good, obviously, because he's been bad. And I think that if he signs back with the Pirates, maybe he could find it again. And whatever team he signs with, hopefully they're able to reform him again, because I think that he still has it in him to be a solid 300 hitter even. At number 19, I have Gavin Lux. Hello, everybody. I'm currently editing. Gavin Lux is not the Dodgers' second baseman. It will be Mookie Betts this year. So just to preface really fast, as you can see from the title, Mookie Betts will be number 1 on this list. Everyone from now on, the number I say, just move it down 1 spot, and that's the number. Gavin Lux will be on the shortstop video tomorrow. Back to the video. At number 18, I have Andres Jimenez of the Guardians. After a really solid 2022, he looked pretty bad in 2023. The underlying numbers in 2022 told you that he wasn't really all that good, and he proved that in 2023. He's still one of the best, if not the best, defensive second baseman in all of baseball, but his bat really doesn't bring all that much to the field anymore, and that is the reason that he is now sitting way down here at number 18. At number 17, I have another guy very similar to him, and that is Bryce Terang, another guy who's one of the best, or if not the best, defensive second baseman in the league. He's another guy who is a contact hitter, which, as I've already mentioned, is pretty much this whole list. But he's not really all that great of a hitter, but he's, as I already mentioned a few times, an outstanding defender. At number 16, I have Brendan Rodgers of the Rockies. He's another guy, just a big contact hitter. He dealt with a lot of injuries last year and mainly only hits left-handed pitching, but he can also hit for some power, which you might say is mainly just carried by him playing at Coors Field, but I do think that he just has some general raw power inside of him, and if he can unlock that even more and maybe hit 20 home runs, I think he could be a top 10 second baseman in the future. At number 15, I have Edouard Julien of the Twins. He looked really good last year. Last year was his breakout year and his rookie year. He's a really solid contact hitter that can also hit for a little bit of power, which he proved in the playoffs against the Astros, where the Twins unfortunately lost. I think that he will be one of the best hitters on this Twins offense, which has been dealing with a lot of bad play from Carlos Correa and injuries from Byron Buxton. It's mainly carried by young guys who are not very proven yet, kind of like him, and I think that he will be a really solid hitter for the Twins if he's able to get even better and better. At number 14, I have Thairo Estrada from the Giants. He started off the season really solid for them, but ended it kind of rough with some injuries and just not playing quite as good. I think that if he's able to put his first month or so, maybe even 2 months, into a full season, he could be a top 10 second baseman, but he has not done that yet in his career, and really hasn't been a great hitter in his career before he got to the Giants, and so if he's able to have a really solid season, it's going to be with them, in my opinion, and I think that it could be next year or in the next few years. At number 13, I have free agent Whit Merrifield. He had a really solid all-star season, which I don't think he deserved to be an all-star, but he was one with the Blue Jays in 2023. Whit Merrifield is just another guy who's a contact hitter, not really great defensively actually, but he is very fast, even though he's getting pretty old now. He's going to sign, I think, with a contender that just needs a second baseman. A team I think that would fit is kind of the Mariners or the Red Sox, I think, are the main two teams to get him. I think he's a better hitter than people think he is, and I think he would be able to provide a decent amount of value for whichever team does end up signing him. At number 12, I have Brendan Donovan of the Cardinals. He did have a season-ending injury last year, but he'll be back and ready to play this year. He can play pretty much any single position on the field except for catcher and really pitcher, which no positions players play or really have to play, only in like a blowout or whatever, but you know what I'm talking about. Brendan Donovan, he's a really solid contact hitter. Once again, doesn't really hit all that many home runs, but I think he could be a 300 hitter for the Cardinals in the future, and he's a great defender at whatever position he plays, but he will be playing second base this year, I think. At number 11, I have Jeff McNeil of the New York Mets. He's just a really solid hitter. He's been kind of really good, really bad, good, bad, and I just don't really know. He's been very inconsistent the last few years, and I just want to see him be really solid just back-to-back-to-back seasons, which he's not been able to do so far. But if you continue doing the streak and how he's been going, this year's supposed to be a good year. After last year, he was just kind of and I think that he's still a great defensive second baseman, but if he's able to go and hit 300 again after winning the batting title in 2022, I think that he could easily be a really good second baseman in the league and go back into the top 10, which he's currently out of at number 11. Starting off the top 10 of the list will be Brandon Lowe of the Rays. He's had a few injury-riddled seasons, but I think he can be really solid for the Rays if he just has a full season where he's really good, which he hasn't really done since 2019, which now is almost 5 years ago. I think that Brandon Lowe can be a really solid second baseman, and that's why he's at number 10. He just, once again, has not put it together for a full season yet in his career outside of 2019, and he just is a really solid power hitter, actually, with not all that much contact and pretty much average on defense, and he's one of the best hitters on a Rays team that is kind of iffy in the lineup, but also really good. The Rays are just a really weird team in general. At number 9, I have Ha-Seong Kim of the Padres. He just had his breakout season, and I think he will continue to be really solid. He now needs to be one of the best hitters on this Padres team behind Tatis and Machado and Bogarts after they just got rid of probably their best hitter from last year, and that was Juan Soto. Ha-Seong Kim is a defensive mastermind, absolutely amazing out there, but he definitely does not have a ton of power, definitely another big contact guy, and I think that he can be a really solid hitter for the Padres, maybe even hitting 300 for them next year. It just all depends on how the Padres do, in my opinion, because I think I could easily see them winning 90 games, but I could also see them losing 90 games, so it's really just in between, depends on how they all perform next year. At number 8, I have Bryson Stott of the Philadelphia Phillies. In 2022, when they made it to the World Series, he was still a starter on the team, but he really wasn't all that great. But this year, he looked outstanding through the full season. He wasn't obviously one of the best second basemen in the league, but he's still a top 10 second baseman in my opinion. He's not going to hit a ton of home runs, even though he did hit a grand slam in the playoffs, which you may be seeing right now. And I think that he could just be a really solid second baseman for the Phillies, and once again, probably hit 300 in the future. At number 7, I have Gleyber Torres of the Yankees, and I think that he will actually just continue to get better and better. Last year, he had to be the star of a lineup with Anthony Rizzo and Aaron Judge being out, but now, if Anthony Rizzo is able to rebound from his concussion, and Judge is going to be back, and they just added Juan Soto in a trade with the Padres, obviously, as many of you just know, because I just said it 2 minutes ago, Gleyber Torres no longer has the pressure to be the best hitter in this lineup. He has not yet returned to his 2019 form of hitting almost 40 home runs, but I think this year could be the year he does that. He's just looked really solid offensively, good contact, good power, just absolutely atrocious fielding-wise, just absolutely terrible. Not really a way I can understate that at all. He's just really not all that good at all on defense, but one of the best hitting second basemen in the league. At number 6, I have Nico Hoerner from my Chicago Cubs. He's coming off of a really solid season, easily his best of his career. He's a really good defender, and he's shown he could do it at second base and shortstop, and he's also just a really solid contact hitter. He almost hit 300 last year, and his power was pretty solid at the beginning, but he didn't hit a home run in almost the last full 2 months of the season. And I think that if he's able to unlock that power even more and maybe hit 300, he could easily be an all-star in the future and is one of the cornerstones of the Cubs team that is trying to go for a playoff run currently. Beginning the top 5, I have Ketel Marte from the Diamondbacks. He was a big part in this team's playoff success, hitting a record 19 games in a row in the playoffs. He was really good for them, leading them to the World Series last year along with Corbin Carroll on offense. But this team now has to deal with the absolute powerhouse Dodgers. They've been a great team for the last few years, but now adding Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow, and maybe even Yoshinobu Yamamoto, this team is going to be nasty, and they are ready to take back from the Diamondbacks, and I think it's going to be very difficult for them to sweep them or even beat them in the playoffs next year. At number 4, I have Luis Urias from the Marlins. He's actually looking pretty good with the power the last few years, hitting more and more home runs. Defensively, he's always been pretty solid, but where it really comes with is his hitting and his batting average. It was rumored that he might even end the season with a 400 average, although at the end of the season he just wasn't quite as good. But he almost hit 350, which in this day and age where a lot of hitting is power-oriented is almost unheard of. Luis Urias hit almost 350 last year, and I think he can continue to hit above that 320 mark and just be a really solid contact hitter. He's pretty much the star of that Marlins offense now after Jazz Chisholm had kind of a down year, and the rest of that offense just really isn't all that great. At number 3, I have Ozzie Albies of the Braves. I think that he's perfect at number 3, and I think there's definitely two guys that are easily better than him. Ozzie Albies is just a really solid hitter. His main thing was that he wasn't all that great against right-handed pitching and just absolutely crushed lefties, but I think he split it up a lot better last year. He was really good against both sides. He's still a pretty solid defender, and if he's able to stay away from injuries, which he did last year, he's one of the best third basemen in the league, and I have him at number 3. At number 2, I have the new World Series winner of the Rangers, and that is Marcus Semien. He is coming off of some of his best seasons in 2022. He broke the record for most home runs hit by a second baseman, and with the Rangers, he's been absolutely outstanding in that time as well. He actually broke the record in 2021. I had my years mixed up. And with the Rangers, he's just been really solid. He's been continuing to hit a lot of home runs. He had kind of a down year in 2022, but he was once again solid this year. And he had to be the star of the offense with Corey Seager getting injured, and that did not falter him one bit. And he could easily be the star of an offense. But it's better with him and Seager up the middle. And finally, at number 1, just a quick reminder, I'm not going to put in any highlights, but the real number 1 player is Mookie Betts. Altuve's number 2. He's at the number 1 for pretty much everyone's list for the last 10 years, I'd say. That is Jose Altuve of the Astros. He's just a really good power contact combo. He hits 30 home runs, hits 300, plays pretty bad defense, to be honest. He's not that good of a defender, but with what he brings to the plate, with what he brings to the plate as a hitter, that is what really carries his value. And even though he's definitely getting up there in age, he is still one of the best, and in my opinion, the best second baseman in the league. That is day 5 of the Christmas rankings. We're almost halfway done. Merry Christmas to everyone, and I will see you tomorrow for the shortstops. Bye.